You know what I thought I might do is a little more of a detailed walk around of this 1979 Honda Gold Wing GL1000. I mean, I did that very first walk around, you know, when I got the bike. But it was fresh, you know, it was brand new. I just got the bike, and so those were kind of just an initial high-level walk around of the motorcycle. And I thought, you know what? Let me do a little bit more of a detailed walk around on this motorcycle before I start messing with it, you know, before I start taking anything off, before I start, you know, tinkering and those types of things. You know, I've done a few things already, obviously, but you know, but before I start getting too much into changing things up, let me do a little bit more of a detailed walk around just so you can see what some of the things are on here, you know, for those people who don't know about these big old fairings or anything like that, just so you can get a sense of what is actually on this bike, you know, at least as it is right now, and then you'll sort of see eventually as I start changing things up, you know, things will start coming off and start changing. So let's do that. Let's do a little bit more of a detailed walk around.
Okay, let's start from the very top here. On this fairing, we actually have a radio, and the tape deck unfortunately doesn't work, man. I was so bummed. I dug out my old tapes and everything. I was gonna play some tapes, and the tape deck does not work, unfortunately. The radio does work on this though, which is great. Pioneer speakers. Choke lever is right here. The neutral light does stay on. It brightens up when you pop it into neutral, so you can still tell when you do go into neutral. And so yeah, it still works for me. The gauges here on the tank or the faux tank actually all seem to be working. I don't have any reason to believe that they're not working. Temperature gauge, fuel gauge, voltmeter, all this does seem to be working. It does seem to run a little bit high, according to the voltmeter, but I guess that's normal for these bikes. Coming over here to the right side, first of all, these mirrors I believe are stock mirrors. From everything that I've looked at, they look like they're stock mirrors. Kill switch, starter button here. This is a non-functioning, a non-working cruise control. So unfortunately, I can't get this thing to work, but whatever, you know. So anyway, coming over here to the left side, high beam, low beam, turn signals here. You do need to put it back to the middle to turn it off, and then the horn sounds great on this bike actually. Let's see, it sounds like a freaking car, man. I love it. I love it. So anyway, that's the fairing. Oh, let me show you this. So on the sides of the fairing, okay, you got this side over here and then this side here, and you can see they're very similar looking, but they're a little bit different. This is actually, I don't think this is leather, but it's some type of a fabric. And let's start off here from the bottom. Let me turn this. So over here, right here is like a little pouch, you know, so you can like store things in here. So if you want to put some change or whatever, or put your keys in here, there's a little pouch here on this side. And then this whole piece here, these actually, I've only looked in here, sorry, I should have done this earlier. I've only looked in here once, just to get a sense of what's in here, but geez Louise, this button. But it gives you access to like the headlight, you know, some of the wires here. This is a wire that's coming from the radio. What the hell is this? There's a little bag in here. Yeah, it does give you fairing screws. Look at this, I just discovered something new. What the hell? And there ain't no fairing screws in there. So but yeah, man, so that, what the hell? There's some there's some spark plugs in here too, and these are the right spark plugs even. NGK DAE8, because I just changed the spark plugs on this. So these are actually, I wonder if these are old. I'll have to open these up and see. But are there a full set? There's a full set of spark plugs. These might be old, who knows, or maybe these are just extra that he put up in here. That's awesome. Look at this. I just discovered something brand new. Where is it at? Here we go. That's awesome, man. Yeah, these are the Honda recommended plugs. Whatever plugs that the previous dude put on here were horrible. I mean, I don't know what they were. I don't even know what kind of brand they were. They weren't the recommended ones though. So anyway, come over here to this side, and you can see the fairing on this side actually has. This one is hard. This little cover here is hard. There's a locking piece here as well, so you can up there like that. And again, it gives you access to the turn signal right up in there, as well as just some storage. You know, if you want to put some things in there, like that dead moth that's down in there right now. So anyway, so there's that. Coming over here to the front of the fairing, you can see that somebody put these. I believe what these are. They put these on here to try to scare away the deer, you know, like when you're riding up in the mountains. I've heard that these things actually don't work. So, but there are a couple of those things up on here as well. You know, fender, radiator, you know, beautiful engine, petcock valve right over here as well. Let's move over here to the back. These bags in this trunk here are all lockable. So this is what's actually kind of cool. I mean, you know, I'm not into the whole bags, and like I said, I'm going to be taking these things off here, but it is really cool because there's tons of freaking storage. These things open up. You can see how old this is. This is like way old. These are Honda line bags too. So, you know, Honda line is it's sort of the official, or was, I think they're gone. They were like the official accessory line from Honda, and so these were made by sort of the official company. See, even says right there Honda line as well. But these are lockable, and what you do is the key works on the locks here as well, and they also sort of allow you to take off the bags. So bam, just like that, lift that right off, and bam, you can just head up into your hotel room or do your camping thing or whatever, and you got your bag right here in your hand. You know what I mean? So that's actually kind of cool. I'm taking them off just because, come on, man, I don't need those big old bags. But anyway, but it's actually cool though. You know, it actually is pretty cool. Here's one thing that I hate about this fairing, other than I'm super hot in the summertime, is that it doesn't allow you access to these side panels. There are two panels here that actually flip down, and on this side it gives you access to the reservoir where you fill in the coolant, and on the other side over here it gives you access to all of the electronics. You know, all electronics are over on this side, and because of the fairing right here, it doesn't allow you to pop this thing all the way open, you know. And so unfortunately, I've heard what you can do is you can actually, there's some pins I think under here, is you can like slip out the pins and sort of take it off that way. But again, I'm not going to be worried about that because I'm going to be taking this fairing off here. There's this plug here that's sort of all the electronics in here. One thing I did notice, so here's what does suck, man. When I take the fairing off, I'm going to have to figure out the whole turn signal thing, because this right here is where the original turn signals were, and they're hacksawed off, man. I mean, seriously, they are just sawed off. They cut this one off on this side and cut this one off on this side. I feel like it was oh man, I feel bad because, you know, I feel like those pieces are gone. So I'm gonna have to try to find either some replacement aftermarket, or I don't know if I can find some old original ones that I could throw up on there. But anyway, just wanted to give you a little more detail of the motorcycle itself. Oh, a couple other things. So here's where you access on this side. I won't take this off, but you can take off this little panel down here, and this is where you access your brake fluid for the rear brake. On the left side over here, this is where you access the battery. I did put in a new battery in here because the battery he gave me was all whack and everything. He wasn't charging it or nothing like that. You know, and I haven't done anything major to the bike yet. I changed the oil, changed the shaft drive oil, the plugs, things like that. The next thing on my list, the absolute next thing, is the timing belts. And so the timing belts are right in here, and this is a timing belt cover. So I'm gonna need to get in there. In order to access that, though, I want to move this radiator out of the way. And if I move the radiator out of the way, I'm going to be draining all the fluid out of there, which I want to do anyway, because I want to put fresh fluid in there. But in order to do all that, to gain access to the coolant reservoir, I need to take off this fairing. So I'm kind of working, not in the direction that I wanted. I wanted to work on the fairing last, but I feels like I'm going to have to do that first. So this fairing is going to have to go. This thing is going to have to come off, man. So anyway, there it is. Quick walk around, or maybe not so quick, but kind of detailed walk around of the 1979 Honda Gold Wing GL1000, boy. Yeah. So anyway, with that, my friends, my people, continue to ride with confidence, head up 100%. Yeah. This is SoopaBee. Look at this. I get home and I open up these spark plug boxes and I got some old nasty ass spark plugs. Man, who would do that? Who would put some old nasty spark plugs in the fairing? What's up with that, man?